One question I've been asking myself out here in the garden is, what is the easiest and best way to prepare a garden bed? And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually not too sure what's the best way. But I have just discovered a method that I think is going to make things a lot easier for me and very simple to do. So I'll come show you. Let's have a look. That's good. Just munching on a snow pea. So this method of gardening that I just discovered, it's called the lasagna method, which is a really cool way of describing it. So when you see a garden bed and you want to prepare it, your first instinct might be to take everything out, flatten the soil and plant into it. There's two main problems with that, and that's how I used to do it. The first problem is that it's a lot of hard work. So doing that in this heat and removing all these plants, it's a lot of hard work. And to be honest, I'm quite lazy, so I like to do things the easiest way for the maximum amount of reward. The second problem with doing that is you are taking a lot of carbon out of the soil. So all of these plants, it's mainly composed of carbon. And in the soil, the main water holding part of the soil, humus, is made from carbon. So humus can hold many times its weight in water. And so by taking all of that out of the soil, we're actually removing the ability for the soil to hold water. So if we want to create less work for ourselves, we need to keep all of this where it is and put it into the soil. So the lasagna method, basically, we keep all of these weeds, vegetables, we keep them here. We flatten it, cover it with soil, and plant into the soil. So the roots penetrate into the decomposing plants, and everything that's already here stays here. So it's quite a simple method, but this is my first time trying it, so I thought I'd just video it and we'll see how it goes.
All right, we're at the drawing board. One thing I wanted to talk about with you guys is the negative of taking plants out of the soil. So here we have the soil line, and there are two main layers of the soil. So the topsoil and the subsoil. I'll just write that down. Topsoil, subsoil. So this is the main focus in gardening. This is where most plants' roots grow. So if we have a plant, let's say lucerne, for example, which is a plant used mainly for feeding cattle and for improving the soil, its roots can go down to 2 meters. So most people don't actually realize how deep a lot of plants' roots grow, but they grow quite deep. And the way roots work, every single plant, the plant will die here. That's a dead plant. And all of those roots decompose and aerate the soil. And the benefit of that is microbes. So I'm going to just draw a huge microbe. Microbe need oxygen to survive. The benefit of roots decomposing is they're almost like little highways in the soil. All these little channels for oxygen to flow in. So by pulling a plant out of the soil, you're actually inhibiting the soil's ability to aerate. So this whole bit of soil gets oxygen when the roots decompose. By pulling that out, you're actually disrupting the natural process of plants growing. So the more O2 in the soil, the more microbes, the better soil structure, which means it's easier to plant, easier to take plants out. The whole system is better because it's more natural. So I thought I'd just point that out for you guys, another benefit of keeping your plants in the soil, and like that lasagna method I was talking about, leaving the plants on the soil surface, like so, while the surface underneath the soil is left undisturbed to do its magic, like nature always has.
So this is what I'm going to use to flatten the plants. It's a boogie board. Hopefully it'll work. Surf's up. So I'm just going to start by flattening it. See if it works. Just like that. Just, surf it a bit. And then keep flattening it. I think I might just pick some of these flowers from my mum before I flatten them. Fun fact, this flower, I believe it's called the cornflower. They use it for the color blue, the little Crayola crayons. Yeah, they use this blue pigment for that. So I think that took about maybe 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes to do that, compared to probably an hour and a half to weed all that. So that is a very good use of time. I'm just going to tidy up the edges and then I will cover it up with some soil. Okay, so I definitely underestimated how much soil I needed. If we come over here, I've only done a bit over half of the bed with the compost, and even then there's a few little gaps that haven't been done so well. So I think when I do this again, what I'll do differently is maybe give it a whippersnipper. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but yeah, whippersnipper it back to kind of push the weeds down a bit more. I had a few that were kind of poking out a bit. And I also think I would get more compost than I need, just so I don't have to do errands back and forth. But overall, for the amount of time that took, I would say that was definitely worth it. Have a rip at this. I was just about to get some worm castings to plant some seeds in, and I found this, I think it's called a worm snake. It's like a lizard worm hybrid. I don't even know what it called. Actually, I hope it's one of those. It could be a snake. Wow, look at that. Slithering around. Wow. It's like a giant worm. So this right here is pure worm castings, which basically means the worms have come through all of this food scraps, soil, and turned it into pure humus, which is pure organic matter. So this holds a lot of water and it's full of nutrients. Great to plant seedlings in, because if you look at it up close, see if I can get that, it's got a very fine particle size, which means that when the roots grow out from the seedling, they get access to a lot of nutrients compared to bigger soil particles like sand. So these are a really good medium to plant seeds into. So we'll grab some of that. Okay, we're gonna start planting some seeds in the soil now. A little tip that I recently found out that's really helped me with gardening is planting things closest to you that you use the most. So you want to think of your garden more in zones. So zone 1 in your garden is things that you pick the most, that you use the most, that require the most attention. So that would be something that's near your back door, something that's closest to you. Zone 2 are things that you use less, like perennials, which live for several years, things that you don't check on as much. So things like lettuce and radish, these are annuals. They grow very quickly. So it says harvest 7 to 9 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, which is pretty quick. And I'm putting this at the front of the garden bed, closest to where I walk in, because these need the most attention. These need picking the most. If I were to plant them at the very end of the garden bed, it's more likely that they're not going to get looked after as well. So make sure before you plant anything, put it all out, figure out when they need to be harvested, how much attention they need, and then plant them accordingly. So I'm going to plant like tomatoes and eggplant further down the bed. So just thought I'd clear that up. So I'm planting the radish next to the lettuce, and then I'm going to plant this other variety of lettuce. It's more for like burgers and stuff. I'm going to plant that there. The reason I'm doing lettuce, radish, and then lettuce is to break up the pattern and make it a bit more diverse. So if I had lettuce and lettuce, there's a higher chance there's going to be more diseases and pests. So if I can mix it up and make it different, it kind of confuses the pests and reduces that. So planting that there. Okay, so I planted those seeds in the ground. Now I need to put some mulch on top so that all of the moisture doesn't evaporate and dry out the seeds. So to do that, I'm going to use these used mushroom blocks from a farm on the sunny coast called Eastwell Farms. Check them out, they do mushrooms and meat, it's really good. Basically, it's a used mushroom medium, so mushrooms have grown out of this and now it gets put into the garden. And it's pretty much made out of hardwood wood, so this will turn into soil pretty quickly. So I'm just going to kind of Parmesan cheese that onto the bed, I guess, just like so. And the good thing about using mushroom medium is that it's full of mycelium, and mycelium and plants have a really cool relationship. So the mycelium actually connects to the plant roots and makes nutrients more available to the plants that otherwise wouldn't be there. So it's good to get mycelium into the soil to make things more available to the plants. Nearly got the mic. Jeez. Well, thank you guys for watching. I didn't get to finish this bed, didn't get enough time today, and next time I'll probably get more soil to put onto the beds. But if you appreciate this kind of content, please consider subscribing. I'll be posting a video every Friday. Thanks for watching. See you next time.